What's going on? Hello, and thank you for joining us on Weather Out West, the hour-long show where we showcase what's happening weather-wise across the western United States. I'm Savannah Welch. First, we start with the latest on this massive winter storm that's still gripping much of the country. So far, at least 68 people have died as this dangerous weather continues to sweep the United States. This unrelenting cold shows no signs of letting up. A fresh push of frigid air is heading east, covering much of the eastern United States all the way down to southern Florida. Temperatures are expected to drop even further tomorrow and stay low all the way through Monday. Some areas could see temperatures more than 30 degrees below normal, with as many as 200 daily cold records at risk of being broken.
The current forecast is for 10 days of projected temperatures where the high
it's really
is
faint.
at or below 32 degrees, frequently in the 20s, and our lows will get into the negatives, as low as -3 or 4 several days this week at the 7 o'clock hour a.m. This is going to be one of the top 5 longest running cold streaks on record, and that is a dangerous thing for our community.
And now a live look at D.C., where you can see a thick layer of snow on the White House grounds there. Winter scenes like this are still being seen throughout the region. In New York, thick ice is spreading across the Hudson River, disrupting ferry travel. And over in New Jersey, a waterfall has partially frozen over, creating what looks like a giant wall of ice. And ice remains a big concern, wreaking havoc on roadways. This was the scene in Mississippi yesterday. A long line of tractor trailers was stranded along Interstate 55. The National Guard and 135 snowplows were deployed to help clear the roads. Luckily, no one was injured. Over in Tennessee, crews have been working tirelessly to make sure road conditions are safe for drivers. Take a listen.
We've plowed over 14,000 miles and salted over 14,000 lane miles in the county. I mean, the men and women have really worked hard to make sure that we can continue to keep the roads safe and open.
Staying in the South, power outages continue to plague communities. Crews are racing to restore heat for thousands of people.
We're trying our best to get all of our 3-phase major lines back on to feed our water wells, personal care homes, all of our infrastructure.
Okay,
so
is there a delay?
Gentlemen, please bear with us. We are working our very best. The weather conditions, trees are still falling, limbs are falling.
This is a once-in-a-generation storm. It is the most ice we've gotten on trees, power lines, and roadways since the storm in 1994, and it produced the largest outage event in NES's history, which has led to the largest restoration project in their history.
Kelsey Gibbs shows us what homeowners in Tennessee are dealing with as they wait for lights and heat to be restored.
I heard a tree branch crash. I saw sparks fly from the power line, and then our power went out.
For many across Middle Tennessee, the story repeats. Freezing rain and ice laying claim to power lines and poles, leaving tens of thousands without light or heat. As of Tuesday night, NES reported that around 110,000 homes were still powerless, and more than 280 poles were broken.
I'm hoping to talk to somebody over there in a little while. That's my hope.
Louis Eron bundled up quietly watching linemen battle the cold as they worked throughout his Bellevue neighborhood. At his house, his power line sits in the snow, disconnected from the transformer.
We were lucky enough to get our hands on a generator, and so we're warm, but we're being patient. You know, we're luckier than some other people.
Outside, an army mobilizes. NES crews logging 14 to 16-hour shifts. More than 118,000 have power again. But for many, the wait stretches out like the cold.
We happened to catch one of the NES pickup trucks driving by and waved them down, and they were very honest and said, we would have never found this house if you didn't wave us down.
Thousands from West and North Nashville, Madison, Hendersonville, East Nashville, Brentwood, and Bellevue remain in the dark.
The way we prioritize the work that we're doing is to make sure we get the largest number of customers taken care of at a time. We are focusing on those circuits with 1,000 or 2,000 or more customers to be restored.
Brent Baker with NES says to meet the challenge, NES has called line workers from across the country and more than 700 strong.
We're up to 740 this morning, and we'll be at 925 this evening. Those are linemen that are working on our system, and another 207 vegetation crews who are making a way for those linemen to get where they need to go.
With each hour, the ice weighs down wires and trees. Neighbors wait, grateful for small comforts, steady in their faith that warmth and light will return soon.
Very appreciative.
And the Red Cross is now on the ground helping storm victims. They're working in Tennessee, Texas, South Carolina, and Mississippi. During the height of the storm, more than 4,000 people sought refuge in over 200 Red Cross shelters across the region.
Oh, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling really happy to be able to volunteer and support individuals that need the help.
To help from afar, the Red Cross is urging people to donate blood. The organization canceled 500 blood drives due to the weather and now faces low supplies. And humans aren't the only ones affected by this Arctic blast. Animals need help as well. Take a look at this. The Cuba Fire Protection District in Kansas rescued 2 horses that fell through snow-covered ice in a pond on Monday. Fire personnel created a safe path through the ice and successfully led both horses out of the water. After the rescue, local veterinarians evaluated the horses and found them to be in good condition. Switching gears to our regional forecast, Denver can expect plenty of sunshine today with cooler temperatures and light mountain snow showers continuing. Meteorologists Chris Bianchi and Katie LaSalle shows us what exactly to expect in the days ahead.
Well, temperatures fairly mild on Wednesday. We'll bring down these temperatures a little bit for today here in Denver, Colorado. I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team Meteorologist Chris Bianchi here in the Mile High City, where temperatures will top out in the 40s and 50s Eastern Plains, 30s and 40s in the high country. Generally speaking, what you're looking at here, about 3 to 5 degrees above average for the end of January, but we had mostly quiet weather, but we got a bit of snow on the way for our northern mountains. These would be the parks of the elk heads. If you're a skier and maybe you're in from out of town, the best ski areas coming up for the next few days will be Steamboat and Winter Park, as well as Vail, Aspen, and Snowmass. Those mountains will get about 2 to 4 inches, maybe even a bit more than that in Steamboat. Steamboat should be the mountain that does the best out of this upcoming storm system. Northwest flow tends to favor our northernmost mountain, which is Steamboat. So that's why up here we're looking at the potential for a bit more snow. In Denver, though, we stay dry. We get downsloping winds here along the Front Range. That'll keep the metro area on the dry side. Forecast highs for Thursday, a little cooler. We do get a push of cooler air, and that'll drop those highs in the 40s and 50s Eastern Plains, 20s and 30s in the mountains. That 7-day forecast in Denver, we're going to be in the 40s for Thursday and Friday, but then we warm up for Saturday and Sunday and Monday as well, with highs that'll be near 60 degrees for Sunday and Monday before we cool down. No meaningful rain or snow chances for Denver and the metro area until next Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. That'll come in the form of a storm system that appears to be lifting a bit too far north to bring us much in the way of impacts. Final thing I'll leave you with, though, snowpack numbers, not what we want. It's our worst snowpack to date on record in Colorado. And also, how about this? A little bit interesting. 58 degrees in Denver on Sunday. It'll be warmer than Miami as Florida experiences a major cool down, the potential for snowflakes in parts of Florida this weekend.
I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team's Katie LaSalle taking a look at our most recent drought monitor released this Thursday, January 29th. We unfortunately here across Colorado have watched drought conditions worsen over the northeastern plains and in around the Denver area, moderate, but the mountains really where we need more snow, extreme to exceptional drought from Aspen to Fairplay, Eagle, and Vail. We did pick up at least a little bit of snow this morning up over Aspen Snowmass. We watched the snow showers rolling quickly, but it cleared out also very quickly. Really not going to be making a dent in our snowpack or drought conditions. We did just watch a few flakes of flying up over Winter Park, and some continued snow shower activity is expected through the day on Friday. But as you can see from our snowfall forecast, along and north the mountains of I-70, so west of Denver, less than an inch at most. And you can see, zooming in a little bit closer from our snowfall forecast, additionally around 1/2 of an inch possible up over Eldora, Winter Park at around 0.3, and could see 1/10 of an inch near Frisco. So you see from our 24-hour snow total, at least we saw 1 inch to 2 from A Basin to Eldora, Loveland Ski Area, Keystone. Our 3-day forecast looking ahead, we have the chance for a few snow showers lingering through Thursday, once again Friday, not causing a huge impact to the roadways, but most everywhere else not really seeing a lot of moisture, which is something we desperately need here in Colorado. But we just have ridge after ridge of high pressure building across the west coast, impacting our state here. You can see, though, a lot of the country will be dealing with our next Arctic air mass. This is going to create some really treacherous, frigid conditions, some record cold expected down over the south. In the meantime, above seasonal normals. Typically in late January, early February, Denver tops out with highs in the low 40s. Dry on the 7-day forecast for Friday afternoon, calmer winds, 50s return. Saturday nearing 60 degrees, Sunday, and once again Monday. That is February 1st, Groundhog's Day, 44 the average. Next best chance for picking up some much needed precipitation arrives Tuesday into Wednesday. We'll be watching the system quite closely.
And take a look at this. In Colorado, a bighorn sheep might owe her life to first responders. Colorado Parks and Wildlife says staff found her trapped in an icy river this week with her body halfway in. The department says officers carefully approached and pulled her out. Now she's recovered and back out in the wild. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this short break here on Weather Out West. In the Pacific Northwest, rain is back in the forecast with the next round of showers expected tonight into Friday. Part of the weekend is looking dry, though. Here's meteorologist Leah Pizzetti to time all of that out for us.
Warm and wet are the two words as we get your Thursday going in Western Washington. Look at the temperatures that we woke up to this morning. This is the coolest we got Thursday morning. I want to remind everybody, average lows for this time of the year are typically in the upper 30s. We were a good 10 degrees warmer than that in many cases, and even more than that up to the north. Whatcom and Skagit counties saw lows in the 50s. Friday Harbor as well, the San Juan Island. So yes, a warm start to the day, and that diurnal change means that we really won't see too much warming as we head into the afternoon. Our afternoon temperatures will be just a few degrees warmer than that. And it was a wet start to the day as well. Rainfall accumulations from the first half of the day, pretty impressive along the coast, about 2 1/3 of an inch of rain in Quileute. Hoquiam about 1 inch of rain, same thing for Shelton, right around 1/2 an inch down to the south around Tacoma and Olympia, our state's capital. Up to the north, though, totals were much more minimal. Nothing in the gauge at Port Townsend. That is thanks to our lovely rain shadow. That means the Olympic Mountains just suck up all that precipitation, and it never actually makes it to the northeast of that. So a rainy start to the morning, and that rain will continue into the afternoon. A teeny tiny break in the rain will arrive during the day, but in time for our evening commute in Western Washington, we're going to watch that rain pick back up. Like I said, that diurnal change will not be drastic. Temperatures will be just a few degrees warmer than those lows that we started the day with. So not a lot of change throughout the day. We kind of just plateau in the temperature department. So low 50s are expected into the mid 50s for a good chunk of the day. For the rest of today, we are going to see some showers starting to continue to pick up into the afternoon. So during the day, most of the rain is staying farther to the south, but in time for that evening commute, 5 p.m. here, widespread light rain picks up once again. There's that rain shadow keeping areas like Sequim and Port Townsend on the dry side. However, just on the other side of the Olympics, you're sucking up all of that moisture. So we see those higher totals over along the coast. But everybody gets that light rain for the most part into our evening hours. Friday morning commute should be pretty okay. We're going to keep the precipitation projected north of us, really hitting British Columbia more so. So Vancouver Island will get some of that heavier rain, but around Western Washington, not too much during the day on Friday, but then we'll see some light showers showers move through during the day Friday. Very minimal accumulations, a couple tenths at best, before it tapers off Friday evening. So your Friday evening plans actually should be pretty dry, cloudy, but dry. We have a little bit of a convergence zone that sets up, some light showers sticking around over the foothills and Cascades, but then we're done. Few showers brush through during the day on Saturday, but then actually by the afternoon we'll dry out and we'll even see the sun peeking out. Better chance for sunshine is going to be farther to the south as we keep some of that rain off to our northwest. It'll be a little bit breezy into our Thursday afternoon. So for today into tonight, we'll see some stronger wind gusts over along the north coast through the strait, and then for our counties north of Snohomish County, gusts in the 30 to 35 mile per hour range. So breezy, yes, but shouldn't be anything we can't handle. Let's talk about snow because, yeah, I told you it's warmer out there. It's a lot harder for that snow to fall. Snoqualmie Pass tried to get some snow this morning. Stevens Pass did a much better job. You can see along our Highway 2 going east-west. We do have some of that fresh snow there on the roadways. We got a little bit of snow yesterday morning as well, but it's a couple inches. We need so much more snow than this. Our snowpack is suffering here in Washington. This is a look at our snow water equivalent percentage of normal. So all of these red areas are less than 50% of where we should be for this time of the year. So we are absolutely hurting, and unfortunately our snow levels are going to be on the rise. I want it to be below 3,000 feet. That would mean all of our passes, all of our mountains get to tap into some snow, but actually we're going to be increasing our snow levels to above 6,000 feet. That means only our highest elevations will get to tap into snow. So not a great thing to see in the snow department. Our snowpack continues to suffer. Looking at the 7-day forecast, we will hold on to warmer temperatures. In fact, warming things up into the end of the week. By the weekend, we're near 60 degrees with that dry weather on Saturday. It will be unseasonably nice, more like spring conditions by the weekend. Some light rain will pick up on Sunday.
You heard Leah mention the snowpack. Well, the Cascades are finally getting some much needed snow. Seattle's Alex McClune is at Snoqualmie Pass to see if all of this snowfall will make a difference.
Rain turned to snow as we were driving up I-90 from Seattle here to Snoqualmie Pass. This is the wet kind of snow you can make a snowball out of. This is the stuff we desperately need. In Washington, snowpack levels across the Cascades have been running well below normal this winter. Snow levels are about as low as they'll be right now, allowing snow to fall at pass level, but this is also when snow totals are at their highest before warmer and drier weather moves in later this weekend. Experts say it has not been enough to erase the deficit built earlier this season. In Oregon, a hydrologist there says statewide snowpack in Oregon is at its second lowest level on record, dating back to 1981, highlighting how widespread this snowpack problem is across the Pacific Northwest.
As we go further into the season, what we can say now is that we're more reliant on larger storm systems to bring more significant snow accumulation.
Only a small number of mountain areas across the western U.S. are near average snowpack right now. Road conditions, little snow covered right now. We're seeing plows make passes up here. That's what's happening up here at Snoqualmie Pass. Alex McClune, King 5 News.
Even further east, central and eastern Washington started the day with patchy fog and snow. Rain is expected to move in tonight, along with warmer temperatures in the days ahead. Here's meteorologist Thomas Patrick with an update on the weather over in Spokane.
Meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. We finally got some weather, well, like winter weather, any weather yesterday. About a quarter inch of snow, officially 3/10 at Spokane International Airport, and still a few flurries flying around Silver Mountain where they got 3 inches of snow at the very top of the mountain. Most ski resorts reporting about a fresh inch of snow themselves as well. Though our weather headlines still active through the morning with a bit of patchy fog for some, even freezing rain and snow for others. But the general overarching pattern is still the same. warmer than it was yesterday, more in the way of rain by the time any precip arrives to Spokane or eastern Washington. Though there are still some winter weather advisories, these go until noon for a mix of some morning light snow and freezing rain. The latest on Doppler radar had a bit of that blue and pink around central Washington, like Chelan to Vantage, but very thin strip at most. When that precipitation arrives for Spokane and North Idaho, temperatures will be warm enough that it's just going to fall as rain. So no worries for any winter weather or slick weather driving out there. High of 41 in Spokane, 40 in Coeur d'Alene, and even 44 in Pullman this afternoon, which is just a pinch warmer than it was yesterday. And that's been the case all week long since Monday, where each day was warmer than the last. Just had a couple blips of some wintry weather really yesterday and this morning. You see that the afternoon will be a little bit rainy for the region. Now here's what our future tracker has for us. Some midday rain, albeit pretty light, and it'll be on and off for the remainder of Thursday. Here's the evening, another light wave of rain just clearing through the inland northwest, sticking around through Friday morning for the most part, with another afternoon wave of rain. Now, this particular modeling was probably the most aggressive in terms of total rainfall. Others were a bit thinner. So it's not even a guarantee we're going to get rain, let alone all that much. But I can tell you what, it's going to be more than warm enough for rain and not snow. Unfortunately for the mountains, that even means snow levels could climb to 5,000 to 6,000 feet, and there could even be some snow melt for the mountains across the Pacific Northwest this weekend. Such is this warm weather pattern for early February. I think high temperatures will be at least 10 degrees above average, as you'll see on the 7-day forecast. But rain chances are really best today and then tomorrow. Again, most modeling was kind of like 50-50. I wanted to show you kind of the most widespread scenario previously here. So if we're getting anything, it's certainly rain. And it looks a bit drier leading into the weekend. Just any excess moisture, be it from either the recent melting snow or a little extra rain here or there, could lead to some foggy mornings. Now, that would be Saturday and Sunday, thankfully not proper commute mornings, but if you are out and about early in the morning across eastern Washington, especially western Spokane County, you'll probably run into more fog than not. Usual trouble spot there. But it really appears to be just a part of this warming weather trend. You just saw how warm it's going to be across really most of the West Coast. Around Spokane, these temperatures are running about 10 to 15 degrees above normal for the season. So we'll see a lot of highs in either the upper 40s, maybe even close to 50 degrees in the region.
From all that snow to all that sunshine. Coming up, we'll take a look at the forecast for the desert Southwest. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Phoenix is looking at picture-perfect weather across the valley with highs in the upper 70s, and they could finally crack 80 this weekend. Meteorologist Ginger Jeffries joins us with an update from the Southwest.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries with a look at your weather out west, where, funny enough, I was speaking with some folks yesterday enjoying some of the hikes that we have around the region, and they said they're actually extending their stay right now because our weather is so nice. I mean, this shouldn't be a surprise, right? I mean, look at the views that we've got right now, especially with those clouds that are kind of making that ombre rainbow sky. And yes, temperature-wise, so comfortable in the afternoon, but we still get that nice cool start to the day. We are headed for numbers like 76 today in Phoenix, 61 in Sedona, 48 in Flagstaff, 71 in Bullhead City. Looking for a little bit of wind to pop up once again. We've got a pair of 7s today in Yuma, and then especially on the southeast corner of the state, we're going to get quite a bit of cloud cover. Now, these clouds are just like we've been seeing over the past week and a half. There's those thin mid-level clouds, so they really just kind of filter the sunlight. What's our main weather pattern at play? High pressure, and that means I'm tracking the records for you. Yes, as you can see, the forecast shows numbers are taking an upward trend. This is a gradual warming trend, so we're not seeing a massive jump in a matter of 24, even 48 hours. I mean, we're going from 76 to 80 on Sunday. But yeah, as those records are 86 and 83, I think they'll stay intact. So we're above normal, not record territory. And the reason for that, high pressure. As you can see, jet stream well to the north of us, allowing in some of these mid-level clouds. But but then it's going to give us some clearing. It's going to give us some cloud cover. But then what I'm watching is the long range forecast because the jet stream is beginning to take a little bit of a dip off the coastline. We also have some subtropical moisture that's starting to develop. So this is all lending credit for a long range forecast to potentially bring in a little bit of a speed hump to our otherwise perfect forecast. I have to call it a hump because it's not really a bump yet. I mean, we're talking about less than 10% opportunity, but obviously with a big WM Open coming to town, that is something I will be watching for. Until that time, we're above normal, not quite up to record territory. We just call it a beautiful day here in the desert. A little bit of cloud cover in the morning, clearing out nicely by the afternoon hours. Temperatures at about 76 degrees. We start off with partly cloudy skies, we'll call it, in the low 50s, warming up into the upper 60s by the noon hour, and looking for our high under nice clear skies right about 76 degrees. So Futurecast shows you have these mid-level clouds, most of it though really huddled around the southeast corner, and yes, we should be clearing out completely before 4 o'clock. I'd say closer to about 1 o'clock for Phoenix and a little bit later as we get over into the southern tier of the state. Without so much cloud cover overnight, temperatures in the evening hours, well, they're going to be a little cooler. We've got 49 degrees tonight under cleared mild conditions, and this again sets the stage for nothing but net tomorrow's daytime highs starting to inch closer and closer to that 80-degree marker in Phoenix. For higher elevations, we still have sub-freezing air in place overnight. During the day, Flagstaff should be getting up to about 55 degrees, but again, as that system starts to move our direction, look for temperatures to scale back slightly. Our temperatures span over the next 7 days, about 76 degrees to 80 on Sunday. Make your tea times now.
Coming up, Lauren Edgar is one of just 10 people selected for NASA's newest astronaut class. Her journey to space just ahead. Welcome back. A Washington woman is reaching for the stars. Lauren Edgar is one of just 10 people selected for NASA's newest astronaut class. It's all part of NASA's Artemis program, which aims to return humans to the moon and establish a sustained presence there, preparing for future missions to Mars. Before this, Edgar was part of the Artemis 3 geology team, helping define some of the goals for future moon exploration. Meteorologist Leah Pizzetti spoke with her about how she fell in love with space and space travel.
Growing up in the Pacific Northwest, I had an appreciation for the outdoors and obviously the rich aviation history that we have in the Seattle area. But it wasn't until I went to a space shuttle launch when I was in second grade and I realized there were people on board and they were leaving this planet, and it made me wonder what else is out there. And so that's really what inspired me and kind of set me on this path to pursuing space exploration and the desire to, maybe someday be an astronaut. And along the way, found this career path that I absolutely loved, getting to do geology and investigate the solar system.
She is currently undergoing a rigorous 2-year training program at the Johnson Space Center in Houston. Once she completes it, Edgar will be eligible for mission assignments, which could take her to the moon. Speaking of space, NASA says it's on track for a critical test tied to its historic moon mission. It says the Space Launch System rocket will go through a wet test as soon as Saturday. That means it will contain fuel during a practice run. NASA says if the test goes well, the mission to send astronauts around the moon may happen in the next few months. If not, NASA says the rocket can receive maintenance. As for our forecast over in Oregon, in Portland, Oregon is expected to stay on the mild side with occasional rain today and tomorrow. The beginning of the weekend looks to be dry. However, rain chances do return again Sunday. Meteorologist Chris McGinnis shows us this Thursday's forecast from the Rose City.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Chris McGinnis in for Rod Hill. Today, our weather headlines are as such. Warmer. We are done with the days of freezing cold mornings and brisk afternoons as the east breeze slowly retreats and temperatures across the Pacific Northwest moderate a little bit. We've had occasional rain yesterday. That'll continue today and tomorrow, too. I think our rain focus on Friday is primarily concentrated between about 10 and 2. So we'll call it midday rain tomorrow. And not a lot, but maybe a tenth to 2/10 of an inch of rain. And then looking ahead to the weekend, a little bit more light rain on Sunday with near record warmth possible on Saturday. I'll show you that with a 7-day forecast in just a second. For now, we've had on and off light rain across the region this morning to the tune of maybe 2-3/10 of an inch of rain. We've picked up about 1/4 of an inch of rain here in our downtown KGW News studios since late yesterday afternoon. There's a blob of yellow right over downtown actually right now, indicating maybe a little heavier burst of rain. But you can see there's also some pockets of dry time, and so that'll be our forecast today, on and off with the rain. Rainfall cumulatively between today, tomorrow, and Sunday's rain event on the order of maybe 1/3 to 1/2 an inch of rain up and down the I-5 corridor, more than that at the coast. Snow levels in the Cascades, by the way, generally at or above, I should say, the Cascade passes. So we're not anticipating big travel concerns there. We need the rain, though, at this point. You know, we are in our quote-unquote wet season, and with all the dry weather that we've had for the month of January, today notwithstanding, we are now below average for the quote-unquote water year, which starts October 1st. Portland, on average, gets most of our rain, about 60-70% of our rain between October and April. So this is significant. Not only that, but the extended forecast, this is the outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. It goes out through the first 11 days of February. It leans towards drier than average weather for February as well. So we're starting to stack week after week after week of dry weather in what is typically one of our wettest times of the year. So that is certainly a news story. Also a news story across the eastern half of the United States. This is visible satellite imagery from yesterday, from Wednesday. I chose this because, well, it was afternoon when we got the shot, but the lack of cloud cover. So the white that you see moving on the map, those are clouds. The white that is not moving is snowpack. And while you would expect that in the Northeast from Pennsylvania to Michigan and into the upper Midwest, look how far south it is. That white stuff that's not moving there is snow cover in Mississippi, northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas, and the northern half of Texas. That is remarkable as they continue to try to thaw out after that massive snow and ice storm, and another shot of cold weather headed for them later this week. So we'll enjoy the 45 degrees and rain right now in Vancouver. Right now in Salem, it's up to 48 with some light rain and a south breeze. And over downtown Portland, 45 with the east-southeast breeze at 15. So there's a little nip in the air. The breeze should eventually turn to the south later today with occasional rain in the forecast. I've got Portland getting up to about 54 later this afternoon. Let's say late morning, early afternoon rain on Friday with highs in the 50s. And then there's that shot of possibly near record warmth on Saturday with highs approaching 60, some rain on Sunday, and then dry for days again next week, the first week of February, and maybe all the way ahead to next weekend, maybe dry.
Boise is bracing for dry, stagnant air as an inversion strengthens heading into the weekend. Valley highs are expected to reach the mid to upper 40s with mountain temperatures in the upper 30s to low 40s. Hector Mendoza breaks down how this is all affecting southwestern Idaho.
Well, a lot of folks excited for some of the snow that we had yesterday, although it seemed like this particular individual scraped up all the snow they could find to make this little guy here. And then you could see there right in the background, little ducky that was made there. And of course, a lot of folks excited to finally see some of that snow fall in portions of the valley. That was a look at Meridian. So that's here in the Treasure Valley. But as we start to look at some of the totals we had here from yesterday, not much in terms of accumulation really making for some jaw-dropping totals. So of course, right under 3/4 of an inch here in Boise, about 3 inches there for Bogus and the Tamarack area, and then through Brundage, only an inch. Not much in terms of measurable snowfall came down in the Sun Valley area, and we're not expecting to see any more of that here into the rest of the week, although we're still going to see a chance for some of those showers to continue here, although very, very light here and very limited through this afternoon. As we look at some of the mountain spots there to the west central and central mountains, those possibilities start to diminish a little bit here through today and continue on through tomorrow. But as we look at the valleys, not really anticipating much, so going to stay dry and stay pretty cloudy and gloomy here for the Treasure and Magic Valley. And these are some of the views that we had early on this morning as we're slowly starting to see this inversion start to take effect. We see some hazy conditions, some fog that is going to slowly start to make its way through. And this is going to be what we're expecting here each and every morning, as we'll have patchy fog across the Treasure and Magic Valleys. And then we'll start to see a little bit more of that clearing Still seeing some clouds, maybe some sunshine here and there, but this is going to be the system that dominates here in through the long term, as it's going to be this ridge of high pressure that brings the likelihood of an inversion to settle in here through the valleys, and then even start to see a little bit more of those warmer temperatures as we start to climb up in some of the mountain spots, as we are going to see that temperature inversion as well. We are seeing some moisture that's coming in from the Pacific Northwest, but not anything that reaches our area just because of how dry it is, and this ridge that's going to continue to send a lot of that moisture further up north, so those spots are more likely to see some of these showers here through this afternoon, and then see that here as we continue with that short wave moving further east. As we look at the 7-day forecast for the Twin Falls area, temperatures will start to climb to near 50 as we look at Saturday and Sunday. We're expecting some more sunshine to come along here as we get towards the beginning of next week. Temperatures will slowly start to climb down, but of course, a lot of the sunshine comes along. But with the inversion that we're going to see, a lot of these skies are going to stay sunny but hazy at times as we're looking at the Magic Valley. And then as we look at the 7-day forecast here for portions of the Boise area and through the Treasure Valley, a lot of these temperatures, again, very similar to what we're noticing there through the Magic Valley, getting near 50 here through the weekend. Patchy fog is going to be more of a concern here for the Treasure Valley, as we're going to notice, especially there from Ontario through Caldwell through the lower Treasure Valley. We're going to see some of those patchy conditions. Then as we move on ahead, again, some hazier skies, but a lot more sunny conditions with temperatures really not changing too much, staying within those upper 40s, getting closer to the 50s. And then again, as we look at the future cast, here's just a really good visual of how this ridge really sends a lot of that moisture up further north, even with a lot of that coming in with the system. It moves its way on up, and this is what's going to block a lot of those conditions there. That's why we're going to stay dry. We are going to see a lot of those clouds really start to pick up here into the next couple of days, so we could see some sunshine, some cloudy conditions here all the way through the middle of next week.
Up next on Weather Out West, the mild and moderate conditions in the southwest and across the Golden State. Stick with us. Warmer days are ahead for San Diego with bouts of Santa Ana winds into the weekend. Onshore flow, though, will be back, cooling things down. Meteorologist Vanessa Paz times all of that out for us with her forecast from Southern California.
Well, happy Thursday from San Diego, California. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz. All right, we are looking at a warming pattern, folks, highly unusual, especially when we talk about what we're seeing in comparison to the rest of the country. They're under that Arctic chill. Meanwhile, for us, we have a ridge of high pressure that's kind of acting like our superhero, protecting us from all of those cold conditions out there. As we take a look at weather headlines, as we almost wrap up your final days of January, heading into February this weekend, we're talking about a warm and sunny pattern all the way through about Saturday. We'll have a round of mild Santa Ana winds drying us out, and we do have cooling relief from this heat, but that doesn't happen until Sunday, and it's pretty short-lived because we have another round of very warm weather towards the start of February, at least once we get to the first weekend of February. All right, our wind gust forecast look like this. We had onshore flow over the past couple of days that has been nudged out of the way by an area of high pressure. It's ushering in offshore flow, also known as easterly winds. They'll start off from the north-northeast this afternoon, and then they transition well out of the east looking ahead to tomorrow. They peak tomorrow afternoon around the 3-4 o'clock hour. Isolated gusts could top out between 30 to 35 miles per hour. This is going to dry things out for those surrounding areas west of the mountains, and they'll also warm those surrounding air parcels, which is going to give us that nice bump in temperatures. We see those winds strengthen all the way through Saturday afternoon. Again, as of right now, National Weather Service doesn't seem to be concerned about the winds. There is no wind advisory, but the closer we get to tomorrow and Friday, that could very well change. Or tomorrow, Friday, I should say, and that could change. High temperatures for today, warmer, about 5 degrees warmer than yesterday. We saw a lot of 70s scattered across the inland valley floors yesterday afternoon. A different story. 80s now taking over for the inland valleys, and it looks like we will continue to track 80s at least through Saturday. For the coastal areas, if you're looking for relief from the 80s, just head west towards the beaches. We'll be in the mid-70s from Carlsbad all the way down to the South Bay. 77, so those warmer spots along the coast will actually be inching closer to 80 degrees. Over the next 5 days, here's what it looks like. The heat peaks Friday and Saturday, and the temperatures come crashing down on Sunday back into the 70s, and we'll still be warmer than average by then. So even though we'll see a drop off in temperatures, it's still going to be a lot warmer than where we should be. All right, so as I mentioned, the heat peaks Friday and Saturday. Here's what we're looking at for Friday afternoon versus where we should be for this time of year. Daytime highs anywhere between 10 to about 17 degrees warmer than average. And I put an asterisk next to Vista and Escondido because that's actually where we could break some daily max records. That's how unusually warm it's about to get. The coast and inland valleys look like this over the next 7 days. Tomorrow we'll touch into the high 70s, very warm. Some may call it perfect beach weather all the way through Saturday. And then we'll see about a 10-degree drop for the inland as well as the coastal areas when we get to Sunday. That's the start of February. And then notice that we have another climb in daytime highs by the time we get to Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. The mountain area 60s on tap all the way through the end of next week. Desert highs, we'll see 80s finally make a return tomorrow, and we stay in that range well above normal all the way through the middle of next week with some slight cooling into the 70s by next Thursday.
As for Northern California, mostly dry conditions continue with a mix of sun and clouds throughout the week. Along the coast, beachgoers should watch for sneaker waves and strong rip currents, especially near the Bay Area coastline. Meteorologist Monica Woods has the latest from Sacramento.
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods, and we're still tracking a few changes for Northern and Central California, dealing with that strong rip and sneaker waves along the coast. Fog is back for the valley, warming for the foothills, and a mix of sun and clouds for the Sierra. We got a light dusting of snow, just putting a fresh coat of snow up there in the high country. So we are going to see fairly dry conditions, but nice to see that little system ripple on through for the middle of our week. We're back to the dry weather, a mix of sun and clouds into our Thursday after areas of morning fog. We'll see generally a light northwest wind. So we are going to see a fog set up once again into our Friday, but then a mix of sun and clouds for the afternoon. But as far as that storm track, it is bypassing us for right now, well to the north of us. So north of the California-Oregon border, we're just really left with the dry conditions and areas of fog for the morning and then a mix of sun and clouds for the afternoon. But it's going to be quite a stretch here of dealing with this dry weather. The key indicator is how much water storage do we have? We generally see a drought every year. That is summer because we don't see any precipitation come through. So the big challenge right now is to bank the water when we get it with those big storms and then hold on to it for the dry season. And right now our reservoirs are holding steady. We're still roughly about 50 to 85% full right now for some of the biggest reservoirs in the northern part of the state. And then as we head into the central part of the state, still looking at, again, about 75 to 82% full. We're only at about 64% full for Millerton. Southern California has been drying out pretty quickly here. But again, the biggest reservoirs in the northern part of the state, that's really one of the key indicators. The second is where we get a third of that water supply for the dry season. That's the Sierra snowpack. And truly, that's our free savings account of water because it's stored nicely in frozen water up in the high country. And then as the spring starts to melt some of that snow, it meters off nicely into our reservoirs. Currently, we've really taken a hit here with the dry weather. We're only at about 45 to 80% of average to date. If we weren't to get any more snow, we'd only meet the mark of about 25 to 50% of what we usually get for this year. But we've had 3 wet year, so really that storage in the reservoirs is going to be a true key indicator of what we face heading into the dry months. Statewide precipitation for the snowpack, about 58% of average to date, but we're going to hit this dry stretch. So those numbers are going to continue to go down pretty quickly here. Let's take a look at our Thursday numbers, though. Highs near 50 for the Sierra, 60s through the foothills. Central Sierra, we're looking at highs in the 50s with 50s to right around 60 for inland areas. Just be aware fog is back. Central Coast, mid 60s to right around 70. Although once we head to the Central Coast, Morro Bay and San Luis Obispo, into the mid to almost upper 70s for our Thursday. Bay Area forecast, mix of sun and clouds, highs in the 60s. Let's go ahead and take it north here along the northwest coast, upper 50s near 60. North end of the valley, we're approaching 70 for Red Bluff. By the time we get to the capital region, a bit more fog hangs on deeper into the afternoon, so it's going to be slow going to warm those conditions into the 50s to near 60. Mild weekend on tap for the high country. We're in the 50s, 60s to almost 70 for the foothills on Saturday, and then a mix of sun and clouds for the coast. Again, watch out for that strong rip current and sneaker waves. Highs are going to stay in the 50s to right around 60 with the dry weather outlook through the next 10 days.
Just ahead, a look at how winter weather can impact your vitamin D levels and ways you can keep them up. We'll be right back. At the beginning of the show, we told you about the cold temperatures gripping the eastern half of the United States. That kind of cold can affect your body in many ways. One of them is maintaining proper vitamin D levels. Mandy Gaither tells us how to replenish this important nutrient even in winter weather.
It's critical for strong, healthy bones. Your body can absorb vitamin D from the sun, but in the winter, that's not always easy.
Less sunshine means less vitamin D.
Dr. Neha Viez with Cleveland Clinic says low levels can lead to deficiency. Symptoms may include fatigue, bone pain, muscle weakness, and mood changes.
But if you are having any of those, then talk to your doctor about maybe getting checked for vitamin D deficiency.
If cold weather allows, Via says help maintain vitamin D levels by going outside for about 15 minutes most days of the week, or a little longer if an underlying medical condition prevents proper absorption. The nutrient can also be found naturally in foods like eggs, fatty fish, as well as fortified cereals and juices. She says taking vitamin D supplements can also help, especially if a medical condition is causing low levels.
But definitely talk to your doctor to see if you need a level drawn or whether you need supplementation.
The CDC says vitamin D deficiency may also raise the risk of falling, and this time of year, so can the weather.
We don't want them to fracture a bone, so it's important to have strong, healthy bones, especially in the winter.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Well, that does it for us here on Weather Out West. I'm Savannah Welch. Thank you so much for being with us today, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.